So former NFL offensive lineman Brian Baldinger, just on what he sees with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah and how he fits into this system Jim Schwartz likes to play.
Well, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the thing that's interesting about him, Tom, is you can't tell a lot of times whether it's a Jim Schwartz styled up blitz or if it's just JOK just reading the play. Like this right here. This is Garrett Wilson out of a wildcat formation, kind of a fake, and he's going to come to the outside. They're going to double team him on the outside right here, and he's just going to recognize it right away, split the double team, because this is what he does. Like, he plays downhill as fast as any linebacker in the league. In fact, he had 20 tackle for losses, including that one right there. But then you look at him, a couple plays later, a quarter later, and they want to run this little 3-count screen to Breece Hall, and there he is right in front of you. The linebacker, he's a man coverage on Breece Hall. The center is responsible for him, but he sees it right away. And he never lets the play get started. He kills the play before it starts. And you think about the Browns, number one in the league last year, Tom, third down defense, 29%. Number one in the league, fewest first downs given up. They play a ton of man coverage. They gave, a lot of teams problems. But JOK's ability just to handle the edge, the blitzes that Jim Schwartz styles up, and then the speed of decision-making, he makes this defense elite. And I think it's time that we start giving this guy a lot of credit because he had his best season. He led the team in tackles. Yes, Myles Garrett was the Defensive Player of the Year. But he did lead this team in a lot of different categories, including tackles. And I think he's only going to get better in this system.
I couldn't agree more with Brian Baldinger. And the thing is, kind of was middle of season on where he just took off. And I'm curious. I want to see what Jim Schwartz does with him, allows him to do, and how the Browns utilize him this year.
Well, there's a couple factors here. And you go to that Garrett Wilson highlight they showed there. Most likely the way you see that, that is not a blitz, because most of the time you're not going to take JOK, who was lined up as a Mike, and blitz him basically through the guard tackle side. If you're going to blitz him, he's going to come straight up the A gap. What that is, all right, Garrett Wilson's in the backfield. You know what? I'm taking my shot that somehow, some way, Garrett Wilson's going to have this ball and try to make a play happen. JOK, super intelligent guy, obviously Notre Dame graduate, all of that stuff. You factor that in. I think one thing, and look, it is a combination of Jim Schwartz. There is no doubt about it, because what we've learned from all these players playing under Jim Schwartz is Jim Schwartz will basically tell you, I don't care if you make a mistake, but you better be extremely aggressive and go 110%. If it don't work out, it doesn't work out, but at least you did it with conviction. The other thing, and this is one thing, and this is more where we're going to maybe credit Andrew Berry. The Browns defensive tackle, I've been covering this team since 2017. Every offseason was the defensive tackle stink. And then we would get to free agency. Not getting better. Then we'd get to the draft. Didn't get better. Then we'd wait till like August. Is somebody going to get? And I did this for like 7 seasons. Last year, they finally went out and said, this has been an issue, and it's been an issue for this franchise for a while, and it's not going to be an issue any longer. This year, they doubled down and made it even better. Brought back all the guys who were good for them last year, and then drafted a guy like Michael Hall, brought in a Quentin Jefferson, so I brought him in as well. So they did a lot of work. And you want to know what? When you take a guy like JOK, who was basically, I don't want to say a man without a position at Notre Dame. He was basically, just basically the monster back. And it was here, line up wherever you need to. Your job is to blow up every single play, tackle the guy on every single play. And now that he has competent players around him that will keep him clean, his instincts and his high motor and his athleticism allow him to just go find the ball. And guess what? It worked out, and it worked out extremely well. And he's going to get paid handsomely for it. It was one of the most under-talked about storylines for the Cleveland Browns last year, and certainly within the NFL last year. I know I said it to you guys many times. When we were talking about JOK last year, we were talking about one of the most improved defenders in the entire NFL last year. And it seems now that everybody's going back as we start to prep for 24 and watching film from 23. You see a lot of people starting to say, hey, you want to know what? Wow. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah had a really good year last year.